hard-won wisdom, or were you able to take some classes and learn this, or is it pretty much been trial and error?
Great question. I've been involved in art marketing for 22 plus years in the Northwest, and so a lot of it, I think, is feet on the ground, seat of the pants, understanding. And I did study a lot of workshops for specific marketing techniques, and I can kind of see through them, you know, what ones are very cliched or which ones are plastic, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, because one I would say approach doesn't fit all.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to work. You can't just cookie cutter it. And not every artist is going to be as successful doing the same thing that other people do. But I think it's a matter of finding what really works for you as an individual and for your art. And because I think the kind of art that you do, your genre or whatever, I mean, you're going to market, you know, vineyard art differently than you're going to market Miss Nighty.
Right.
And it's a completely
And,
different
you know,
market. I mean, it might not be.
Right.
The same people might be by both.
Right.
But not necessarily.
But you know, in the end result, and something to always keep in an artist's mind and everybody's mind about art, I'll doodle Miss Nighty just for the pleasure, just to do it. I mean, Miss Nighty existed a long time before she became something to sell. You know what I mean? So art is something that psychologically is healing, and it's a communication form, and it is totally separate from the marketplace. Maybe always, maybe before, maybe after, maybe contingent with the marketplace. But it's, I want to really honor the fact of there are artists that, you know, toil in obscurity for the pure pleasure of the toil, you know. And then there are artists that really need to pay the electric bill.
Exactly.
You know, and there's all of that variety in between.
So when you're teaching some of these the painting classes and the business of art classes in Chehalem at the Art Center, are they well received?
Oh my goodness.
Yes?
I'm fortunate in that we've been able to keep a full class since the Cultural Center opened.
Okay.
And all of the wonderful things that are offered there, you know, the community is just now becoming aware of the variety that is offered there. That's another wonderful website, chehalemculturalcenter.org. And they have ongoing classes that rotate, you know, 5, 6, 8 weeks long. Sometimes single-day workshops, sometimes some very creative things. Day of the Dead will be a big thing. During Old Fashioned Festival, there'll be a big parade with these giant puppets that are just the
fun.
coolest things.
Okay.
And there's an ongoing display there at the Cultural Center that is probably less of a gallery space and more of a museum presentation. This is artwork that is maybe meant to initiate comment, you know, and of course some of it is for sale, I think maybe all of it, but it's mainly a showcase for creativity, a step away from the marketplace, which makes people a little more comfortable.
Sure.
And you can learn how to do things. You can learn how to slump glass. You can learn how to paint. You can learn how to write a poem. You can learn how to, oh my goodness, play a clarinet. I mean, it's really wonderful.
It is amazing. We were there. In fact, we did some on-location shows, Arts Alive shows there. And I was just, I mean, obviously it's an old school, and it's got kind of that, you walk in and immediately it feels good.
Right.
You know,
right.
it does. It feels like probably the same age as the schools I grew up going to.
Right, exactly.
But the windows and the lights, and I'm really struck by that because I think now when you see schools, a lot of times there's not a lot of window space. And I remember really distinctly being a kid, you know, staring out the window and, you know, just drifting and dreaming the clouds in the sky and, you know, whatever the teacher was talking about. I really don't remember that, but I remember looking out the window and just thinking about things. And I think, you know, when I walked into that space and saw all that light, like you were saying about the painting studio, but there's just something about that you don't get from being outside either.
Right,
It's
right.
like it's a enclosed sort of safe space.
Exactly.
And it frames your experience, I guess, is how I would put it. Yeah.
It's a place that's separate. And when you walk in the door, you celebrate culture,
Exactly.
no matter where you're at. You know, if you're a neophyte, if you're just curious, or if you're a veteran, I love the smell of the air when I walk in there.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. The staff is great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But and you were saying that they really listened to the artists when
Right.
it came time to
Right.
to equip the place. And,
There was a group of artists, I want to say 25, 30, and this is years ago, that were consulted, and we had several meetings, meetings before I joined the group and meetings after, where advice from these artists was taken into account in the planning of the building.
Okay.
For instance, when we first did a walkthrough, and I'm talking concrete floors, dust, broken windows.
rubble, yeah.
I know the windows weren't broken; they were replaced by then. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but rubble, yes. We did a walkthrough, and originally the plan was that the painting studios would be on the first floor,
Okay,
where the second floor had these two-story windows.
they're amazing.
Just gorgeous. And so we said, think about this, flopping the locations of the painting studio and the sound studio downstairs, and they listened. It was wonderful. The equipment is, there's granite countertops in the painting studios.
Isn't that amazing?
It's really wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great
It's
resource.
such a nice space to be in.
Mhm.
And do they also open it up so that people, like professionals, can use that space? Does it work like that at all?
In a way, I have been, between classes, I'll be working on work. I'm very tempted to go downstairs and start throwing some pots. I love that, and I would like to learn how to slump glass. But I don't think, as far as you're asking, a studio space, no. However, events, you want to do a lecture or a wedding
Oh, right.
rehearsal or something like that, you can actually rent part of the space.
Okay.
And eventually there will be a culinary kitchen and a movement studio upstairs.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, and a
So-
stage.
Great.
Yeah,
Oh, so there's plans also, so then to
Right.
have a theater.
exactly.
Okay.
There is a theater, the bones of a theater, one of those beautiful ones with the ranked. All the seats had to come out though because they were smaller. They need bigger seats now. Well, it was an elementary school.
Yeah, remember those little bodies way down here? Yeah.
Little tiny seats.
Oh
But
my
it's a beautiful stage, like for a small, medium-sized theater, you know. And isn't that going to be wonderful for the community?
It's gonna be
You know,
fabulous.
the gallery players here, and I don't know what they're going to call themselves there, but right here in Yamhill County.
I think it's amazing.
Mhm.
Well, it sounds like you keep really busy. And so
Thank you.
now this time of year is probably when you're, I guess, gearing up if you're gonna be having some shows and,
Right. Art Harvest, I'll be at the Westland Art Festival, which is in September. There is an event at the Allison. It's called Alice in Wonderland. Isn't that fun?
how cute! I love it.
And that'll be going, I think, one of the first weekend, or the first week of August, I think.
Okay.
You have to check with Allison on that. Let's see, what else is going on?
Okay, so they've got some pictures up. You
Oh,
might want
thank
to
you.
talk about those.
This one, this is a private commission. It happens to be a lovely farm out toward
It's
Westland,
beautiful.
the Smith's barn. And the day was late fall. We went out there and did the photo shoot. I will always do a photo shoot and some watercolor studies on site. And in the foreground, you can barely see it underneath the apple tree. There was these two wonderful dogs.
Oh, how cute.
A golden retriever, a black one, and a Labrador, yellow lab and a black lab. And they're actually reposing under the apple tree in the
Oh,
foreground.
how fun.
That's Smith's Barn Fall. Beautiful place, just gorgeous. It's quintessential Oregon.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that you are an amazing landscape painter.
Thank you.
Amazing.
This is right out my dining room window. Again in the fall. This is Oak Grove dusk. Maybe later fall, early winter. Looks like we've lost a lot of the leaves there. And the, light. Painters are, it's all about the light. So here, the light is glancing from the background. It's a backlit study in a dark foreground and lots of grays, and that's kind of a moody painting. I did a whole series of those.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, this one is High Valley Color. It's a large oil, 30 inches by 48. This depicts my neighborhood, although there's no willow tree there. I planted it there. But the fog, the way the fog sits on the ridge.
That's beautiful.
It's kind of like the sky is breathing, you know, and it just settles right there. And, this is wheat fields near Perrydale.
Okay.
Great, expansive view. This was, again, a private commission. And you notice the slice of red in the background. I actually happened to drive through there. This is well before I met the client. And there's this gorgeous wheat field with red clover in the background.
Oh,
and
how
you know,
pretty.
the farmers do it for the artists, of course. You know.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with improving the soil at all.
No. It's just wonderful. And those skies out in that direction are just incredible.
It's so big, isn't it?
Oh, thank you.
That's beautiful.
Oh, here's my oak grove again. This is Gary Oaks, or Quercus garryanus. This is a client that came to my studio last year, told me what Gary Oaks means. You know, it's an old-fashioned term,
Okay.
the Gary Oaks, Garry, which means Quercus garryanus, which is which is the botanical term for Oregon white oak.
Okay.
So those are Oregon white oaks. That again is just adjacent to my property.
That's beautiful.
And I didn't paint all of the blackberry vines. They're suggested there in the background.
Or because you'd still be at it.
Right.
They never end, do they? No.
That one's a 24 by 48. That's one of my favorite ones.
That's beautiful.
I actually did this one as a demonstration at the Cultural Center painting class. There's quite a bit of drippy paint in the foreground. And I'm, as I mature as a painter, you can see how mature I am. That's a joke.
But that's whimsical.
Yes, but I like paint to be paint. You know, there's thick passages and thin. In that one, I'm very satisfied that I didn't go back and change the foreground. You know, paintings are never done; they only stop in good places.
Shannon, I like that. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen so much of your work over the years, and I love it all. I think your landscapes are just amazingly beautiful.
Thank you.
And one of the things that I love is it's how you get it's the light. It's that quality of the light, and you get it coming through trees or you get it coming through clouds. But I mean, seriously, I have no idea how you do it, but you just nail it every time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, but you know, it wouldn't be a painting without the light. I mean,
Of
it wouldn't be a
course.
scene. A painter wouldn't notice it without the light. But you know, you also don't see all the ones in my stacks that don't make it.
Oh, okay. The ones that
But
you
thank
paint,
you.
do you paint over? Do you ever just paint over?
You know, I
or-
can't do that. I
Really?
find myself keep trying to rescue what's there.
Oh,
I'm a pretty deliberate painter for all of the freedom. I want to have a tender balance between deliberate and freedom. And it's very hard for me to paint over something.
okay.
You know, I do have 5 kids. They have a lot of my artwork.
I'm sure, and
Yeah.
that's probably a really good thing.
And they love it. They don't know that I wouldn't
They think
not paint over it or
Mother picked
something.
it just for them.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
being here today. It's great to have you, and I've really, I mean, when you walked in and I saw these, I thought, now what a departure. But you know, it's true. It's like anything else you do. You don't always cook the same meal.
Exactly,
I mean, You know,
exactly.
and yes, you're a fabulous landscape painter. That doesn't mean that you can't do Miss Nighty.
Right.
But what I most love about that is it's like that connection from your grandma to your grandkids who never knew her.
Right,
You know, and that's
right.
it's such an amazing thing, and you are the conduit for all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Art lives.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.